engaged skills and a passion for teaching Kaizen, lean manufacturing, and Six Sigma. Mike's journey into lean manufacturing began in 1985. Under the watchful eye of Shigeo Shingo, Mike successfully improved a die changeover from 45 minutes to less than 5 minutes. And Mike learned firsthand from the master, Shigeo Shingo, the techniques of the SMED, quick changeover system, along with the early eliminating waste from manufacturing operations. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited to have Mike here. Years ago, I can remember very vividly. So when I was at FedEx, I was a subscriber of Gemba Academy, and we used their learning content in our transformation developing people. And I was on an airplane. I was traveling at least 3 weeks a month at the time, sometimes 4. So I was on an airplane, and the Wi-Fi actually worked well enough for me to stream videos from Gemba Academy. And there was a kind of a leader standard work course and some live Gemba Live series. And one of those in particular was of Mike giving a talk. And I was watching that, and as I was watching that, I was scribbling and going back and rewatching it because there were so many pieces that not only spoke to me, but they really became kind of the foundation of how we connected with both our leaders and our frontline folks to come at them a little differently than we had before, right? And so that really had a big influence on me personally as well as organizationally. And so really excited and honored to introduce you to Mike Wroblewski today. So give him a good welcome to Colorado.
Clicker, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. We had a long, full day here. I'm going to give you a quick 1-hour presentation. It probably won't be what you're normally used to, but the information you got today, I attended several of the presentations, I thought was spot on, excellent, great messages, good stuff to talk about. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the culture than tools. First of all, I hope to offend you in this course of discussion. If I offend you, it's only meant to challenge you, not to truly offend you, because I still have respect for people. First of all, are there any finance people here? You might as well leave now, because you're not going to get half of this stuff here. But please, since you paid, you can stay. Okay. All right. So now, how about HR people? Why don't we have HR people here? Okay. You need to get HR people at these things because HR is part of the human resource development. That's developing people. I heard that several times here. HR needs to be part of this process. Don't leave them out. One of the mistakes I've made probably every mistake you can make in Lean I've made over 30 years, including the worst one ever, laying people off after a Kaizen. I've done it. Under pressure from management, I caved in and I did it. The worst mistake I ever made, I never did it again. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having an assembly line here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, the first 2 rows here? Let's do a Kaizen event. Go in there, work a whole week, make improvements, and guess what? I need 3 less people now because we made so many good improvements. So goodbye, thank you, goodbye, goodbye, thank you. Now we need to do the same production with just you guys. Pressure for more improvements, we need to do another Kaizen event. Who's up for it? Okay, exactly. That's not respect for people. Do not lay off people. We're not here to get rid of their hands. We want their brains. Keep their brains. You just taught them how to do and look for ways to improve. Keep the brains. Find other value-added activities for them. Do not lay them off no matter how much pressure you get from executives. Hardest thing to do in Lean. Also, I work mainly in manufacturing. I'm an engineer by background, so I'm a recovering arrogant engineer. If you know and work with engineers, you know what I'm talking about. Engineers are very arrogant. I have all the solutions. I'm a problem solver. I can solve all your problems. That is all, in fact, true. I am a great problem solver. I can solve all your problems. But I need to help teach you to solve your own problems. So if clients hire me to come solve the problems for them, I refuse to do it because I want to do that. I need to stop doing that. I need to have you guys solve your own problems. I want to help you do that. So I'm a recovering arrogant engineer. Now, working in manufacturing, I cuss a lot. I swear, I will try not to use any bad words. Okay, so if one slips out, I apologize up front. I'm pretty good at that. I will not cuss. But when manufacturing, and I grew up in a Marine Corps family, I sort of learned to cuss early in life. However, I noticed that when I go to different countries, because I teach all this all over the world, I don't really speak any other languages except English, but I can cuss in 42 languages. So I may throw out a word or two. You may not know what it is, but it's cussing for me. Okay. In fact, the plant that I was just working at was in Connecticut, and most of the workforce is Albanian. So I know some new words in Albanian, how to cuss. Anybody speak Albanian here? Good, I'm safe. Okay. One of the first words they taught me was dreci. Dreci. I'm going, oh, cool, that's a good word. What does it mean? And they say it's like, what the hell? You know, when you go into an area and something's not right, and you, what the hell? I go, good, I'm going to use this. So whenever I go into an area and it's all screwed up, I go, dreci! And they go, oh, okay. All the Albanian people are looking up, and everybody else is not knowing what's going on. So every now and then, it's good to say, what the hell? Dreci. What can we do to solve it? So we're going to talk a little bit about gimbal walking. Gimbal Walking Dead. Who's fans of The Walking Dead? I love the show. I don't like where it's going now, but I love the show. I'm still going to watch it, okay? I love zombies. What's the main characteristic of being a zombie? Dead. Walking dead. Okay, you guys are a great, good group. I like that. Okay? What about the mind of a zombie? What do we call zombies? The Walking Dead, because they are brainless, mindless. Okay? This is what you do when you go on a gimbal walk. You are brainless, you are mindless, you are dead. Executives I see on gimbal walks are dead in the head. They're like the gimbal walking dead. Now, you laugh, but it's true. Okay? What's a gimbal walk that I've been on with executives? We herd up all these C's, 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 all these C's, get them all together in a room. We're going to go on a gimbal walk. What do? We walk to a board. And we're going to look at the board, and we're going to look for red and green. We're going to look at what you're improving on, and we're going to ask for people to talk about where they're at and status. Good. What do we do next? We go to the next board. Then where do we go next? Next board. All they do is walk around and look at boards. Is that Gimba? No. So I have one piece of advice. Turn around. Gimba's behind you. Look at the Gimba. Boards are great. I love visual management. I love what boards tell you. But taking executives to go around walking and looking at boards is not Gimba walking. It's not. So what is? What is Gimba walking? What is Gimba? Okay. How much value does this board give us? Zero. Where's the value that is given to us? Behind it, where work is actually happening, where you are generating value in either product or service to your customer, and where your employees are working. Go there, look at the Gimba. Why? If we're mindless, we don't care. If we're zombies. It is. Why? Why do we go to Gimba? It's where the work's done. But what are we going to do once we're there? Yeah, what's working, what's working, to understand. You go to understand. That means you have to think about it. You're going for the executive, each person, to go to understand. So what you need to do is learn. That's the first thing. Second thing is to teach. I think I saw a slide, all leaders are teachers. All right? So now this is an opportunity for you to teach. So when you have one-on-one meetings, first thing I ask is, where do you have your one-on-one meetings? If the executive tells me in his office or her office, I say, wrong place. We're going to Gimba. Next time you do a one-on-one meeting, I don't ever want you to go to have a one-on-one in your office. We're going to go to Gimba because I want you to learn and I want you to teach. And we go and look. And we're going to understand. So that's the first thing. When you go to Gimba, you're going to look for the work. Is it going to saying, hey, how you doing? How's things going? You going to watch the game this weekend? Cool. What do you think is going to happen? Rams going to win? You think so? I think Broncos are going to do all right, right? Cool. All right, well, we'll see. Hey, how's it going? How's the family? Wife doing well? Okay, good. All right. Well, we'll talk to you. All right, that's good. What is that? It's not a waste of time. I don't think it's a waste of time. I think it's relationship building. But is that Gimba walking? No, sometimes we mistake going around being social as Gimba walking. We don't want to do that. So again, we don't want to be mindless. We want to have a purpose to learn to teach, to learn to teach, to learn to teach. That's what we go to Gimba for, no matter how long it takes. Okay, so how many people are in a transformation? Cool. Is it like herding cats? Oh my gosh. It's like the hardest thing I work with clients. My one in Connecticut, I am actually helping them with the transformation there, and it is such a challenge and fun and joy. Okay? Transformation is great. So I've learned a couple things that may or may not pertain to you, but all I can do is share my experiences. Maybe my experiences will help you in your experiences as you go forward in that. One, transformations can be fun, exciting, dangerous for your career because you can get fired for it. I've seen it. And you could actually not get any results. Now, I heard an interesting thing. I think it was in your presentation you were talking about this morning. You were allowed 6 months to go and not make any changes. Go just to learn. Awesome if you can do that. If I did that with my clients, I'd be fired. That's awesome if you can do it, but most people want results quick, like within a week, maybe a month if you're lucky. So you have to balance it. You have to balance some quick wins with going to really understand the process, which I agree with, so that we can really make the improvements. But the idea is you have to have some wins to help make sure that the benefits are there. All right, finance person. Where's finance? Okay. What's the number one goal metric to measure the profitability of a company? Yes, but what's the metric measurement you use? What do you use? Okay, is there something else you use? EBITDA. You use that one, that EBITDA thing? All right, wait a minute, where's someone from operations? Anyone from operations? Any. All right, what's EBITDA?
Earnings before tax with interest.
Oh, that's close, that's right. Did you know? Okay. First thing we need to do is if you are measuring something, we need to have everybody else understand what that is. And that's one thing I found in companies that they don't know. Okay? So now that you know, we're good, right? Okay, we can go forward. So we're at the end of the year, and what I normally get from clients is, oh my gosh, we're not hitting our metrics, we're not hitting our EBITDA goal. You need to improve your EBITDA. Work on it next month. If you don't know what it is, how can you improve it? So what's the first thing most companies do to improve that measurement? Earnings before interest, taxes. Cut labor, yes, that's the easiest thing to do. Number one thing. It's easy because it's bottom line, get rid of heads fast, hits that bottom line really quick. And then we can get into travel, we can cut consultants, we can cut all kinds of stuff, but cut, right? Wrong. You're actually too late, but what should you have started with first? Where's the first place you really should look when you're looking at this metric? Do you know? Finance? Finance, yes, ask finance. Finance, can you help us? Now, all right, let me explain something. We're in a safe environment here. Even though we're going to joke around and have some fun, if you say a wrong answer, that's okay. All right, safe environment. What's the number one place we should start when we want to impact this measurement? Do you know? Take a guess. No, that's the first place normally 100% people do, but that's not where you should look first. Where should you look first? Revenues, exactly, revenues. That's just revenues. Look at price erosion, margin erosion. Look at what you're selling to your customers. Look at the prices first. Because what I find in most companies is, oh, we got this great deal at this new contract, but we had to cut the price from a 20% discount to a 25%, a 30% discount. Right out the door, you're losing money. And we need to look at those and work with the sales team to work with the manufacturing operation team, with the other teams as one team to make sure that we're on the same page. So you're not coming out of the gate already in a problem there. So teamwork is an issue. Work together, right? And understand how you're measuring it and how you impact it. So I would look at prices first and revenue, and then how do we improve revenue, then cutting costs. Because any idiot can cut costs. You don't need a Harvard MBA to do that. Okay, just cut them. I've been a victim of that. I had an executive once that said, I'm not making my bonus this year. He's some COO something. And that's not going to happen. I'm going to make my bonus. So he went to HR, and he said, I want a list of all the employees' salaries by ascending order. And we're cutting $2 million in salary, which they did. As a high-priced paid engineer that would know how to solve problems, I got cut. But my boss told me ahead of time I'm really expensive, I'm probably going to get cut. So I did, but I knew that. Cut $2 million salary. They made their goal this year, or that year. You know what the ironic thing was? Do you know what the bonus was for that COO? $2 million. What's wrong with that? Why are we doing things to prevent us from winning in business? Things like this. This is not lean thinking. What we want to do is challenge the way we do things, challenge the way we do it, and do lean thinking so we're not hurting cats. All right. A lot of times you're in this transformation, you're not in control, so this is what I say. I don't know who the hell's in charge, but you don't have to know who's in charge because there's really only two things you can control. You can control your effort and your attitude. You cannot control anyone else. So a lot of times I hear things, how do I get people to get on board? How do I get others to do lean? We would be great if those other people would just get on board, or if we could fire these people. I hear that everywhere. I'm sure you're probably thinking it, if not in your head, but out loud too. Okay? First thing is you cannot control anyone. No one. Anybody try to control a significant other? You know what I'm talking about. You cannot control. So give up. Give up right now. You cannot control. You can influence, but you cannot control. All you can control is your effort going forward and your attitude, positive, going forward. Work on that. Couple things. My last name is Polish. Some people have a hard time pronouncing it. So in the spirit of lean, I'm going to give you a visual aid. My visual aid is Wroblewski. Can everybody say that? Good. Simple visuals help make things simpler. Know what the problem is that you're trying to solve and solve them with simple solutions. Don't say, I know visual aids and send them everywhere throughout the whole facility and put visual aids everywhere. Solve a problem, make it simple. Okay, I worked at Hillrom for 16 years as an engineer. I did actually see a Hillrom bed. I believe you guys have Hillrom beds here at Denver Health. A good product. I actually designed the birthing bed, worked on the stretcher line, worked on, the advanced bed and a few others. So I had like 7 new product introductions, designed the assembly lines to do it, all the fixturing, all that stuff, so I know a lot about Hillrom. And then I worked for a few other companies, and then I went to Batesville Casket, worked as their lean sensei at the corporate office, and then after 20 years, I decided to become a consultant. So I used to be a practitioner like you and then a consultant later on. The reason these are together is they used to be owned by the same family. The plants were right across the street from each other, so we were sister plants. We always joked at the Hillrom side, if our product doesn't work for you, you can go across the street. We have another product at our sister plant that may help you. We thought that was hilarious. But for some reason, people at Batesville Casket have no sense of humor. I don't know. Building caskets every day, you just don't have a sense of humor over there. But the cool thing about this is where I learned lean, was that the Hillenbrand families brought these Japanese guys in here, which I did not know who they were, and they taught us how to do this lean back in the 80s. And they've been doing lean since then. Perfect? No. But here's the thing, they never stopped. Ever since 1985, they've been trying and practicing and doing lean, and been very successful. That's where I learned how to do it. And that's where I learned to become an arrogant engineer. All right, along the way, I found that sustaining it is a problem. So what is it? Why is it that people cannot sustain it? So this is our first attempt to really talk both intellectually and practically about the culture portion, not the tool portion of lean. So the first half of the book is more academic. Second half is more practical. A lot of stories and interviews in there that tell you about experiences to help you understand how this culture is such an important. We did win the Shingle Prize in 2015 when we published it, so we were pretty honored by that. So we're really happy with the results of the book. My first lesson was 1985, as you heard earlier. It was pretty successful. This Japanese guy came in, could not speak English, said, we're going to go and look at your setups. Setups was on a 400-ton press, and he said, how long does your setups take? We say about an hour, and he said it should be 10 minutes or less. SMED, single minute exchange of die. How do you think we took that goal? Yeah, we said no. Sake's involved, no. No, there's no way we can do 10 minutes. These guys, 20, 40 years of experience, they know what they're doing. You can crush a body in these dies. You cannot just play around with it, so there's no way you can do it 10 minutes less. He said, well, just listen to me, and management says listen to him, so we did. And he said, let's look at internal and external elements. So if you're familiar with SMED, there are some things you have to do while the press is stopped, like reaching your hand inside to get something out. You better have the machine off. Okay, common sense. But going and looking for material and getting things prepped ahead of time, you can do that while the machine's still running. So there's things you can do while the machine's still running, and machine, after it's running and starting, you can do things again, similar to like a pit crew change. We saw that earlier in a video in one of the courses. So how do you prepare for the actual change? How do you do the change, and how do you do the post-change? So he taught us that. So the first time we did that, we videotaped it. We saw what the internal, external elements were, got everything prepared on board, on stage, and first changeover was 30 minutes. And he said, please try again, there's more waste. And he said, look at the process of how you bolt a die into the bolster. You got all these nuts and bolts, and you're ratcheting them and getting them tight, and you're going to the next one and ratcheting it up and getting it really tight. What if you put a slot in it and had the nut and bolt right at the right size, slide it in one turn? Wow, that's great, let's do it. So we did that. Another 5 minutes came off the setup, so we're now about 25 minutes. He said, please try again, there's more waste in the process. So he says, look at your adjustments. On the RAM, you have to adjust up and down if you have different heights for your die. What if you made all the dies the same height? If they were standard, once you adjust it once, you never have to adjust it again. Wow, cool, why didn't we think of that? So we did that. Next changeover was 15 minutes. So please try again, there's more waste in the process. So we did this over and over and over again until by the end of the week, we were down to 4.5 minutes in our changeover. So we're like high-fiving each other. We did a great job. We beat that Japanese mark. We're better than the Japanese. And he says, please try again. There's more waste in the process. You could save 5 seconds here, 10 seconds here. So it's continuous improvement. You can always improve. So that's the first experience I had to learning how to think differently and improving something. So I've been doing lean ever since as a result. Now, he said a lot of really cool things in Japanese that I didn't understand, but in translation, one of the coolest things he did say was there are 4 purposes of improvement: easier, better, faster, and cheaper. These 4 goals appear in the order of priority. In the U.S., when we apply lean, and what priority do we put these 4 in? The direct opposite. We try to do things cheaper, faster. He says, wrong, stop doing that. Do not do that. He said, just try to make processes easier and better. You'll get faster and cheaper. So that's how we go to the shop floors, how we go to where employees are working and say, we want to make your processes easier and better. We'll get faster and cheaper. We'll make money, but let's make your process easier. So that's the approach that we take. Let's make the processes easier. So life, that's all it is. It's how we apply it. Do we apply lean thinking in everything we do? Do we apply it when we get dressed in the morning? Do we apply it when we cook dinner at night? Do we apply it when we clean up our house, take our kids to school? Any activity we do is a process. Do we apply lean thinking in everything we do? Do we live it? Yes? I would hope so. In this group, I had more yeses. But if you're not, I challenge you to try to live it. Improve your processes. Learn how to improve processes and in everything that you do. Now, it's not found in the tools. There's lots of great tools you can use, SMED, 3P, TPM, all that, but it's the culture. You should have the culture as a baseline to make sure that they sustain. So how do we work on the culture portion of it? Let me give you an example. Have anybody been to Japan? Okay. Anybody rode the bullet train? Okay. Was it on time? Okay, Japan's known for being on time. The bullet train is one of their most successful mass transit systems where they are making sure that this is on time. They have basically 12 minutes from the time it stops till it starts again, and that's how they bill it. That's how they have the tickets. Every 12 minutes the train's arriving and leaving on time. That means they have 7 minutes to clean it in between. Okay? When they first did this, they were miserably, terribly inefficient and could not do this. There's a company called Tessie that is the cleaning company, and they were tasked with making sure that they can get this train in and out in 7 minutes clean so it's ready. And when we say clean, we mean Japanese clean. We mean very clean, not American clean. Okay, just so you know. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm talking Japanese clean. It's got to be clean. So, that's the problem. I met the guy who actually worked on this. How do I work on making sure it's on time every time within that 12 minutes, and they had 7 minutes to clean the train? So what was the current state? They were never able to achieve the target. Morale was low. None of the employees believed that they could do it. The work was considered dirty, dangerous, and difficult. High turnover by all the employees that were in the cleaning crew. The employees actually viewed themselves as NG, no good. Terrible morale. So what did you do to solve the problem? So I went to this presentation to hear about the CEO that did this turnaround, and I, as an engineer, expected to hear, I'm going to go hear a good A3 and see what problem-solving techniques that they used and what they really did to develop this, and he had none of that. It was all about building relationships and working with the morale of employees to make this problem solved. No A3s on this. So what did management do? Before he showed up, they did the common thing. If an employee is not doing what's expected, what do? We punish them. Okay? We reprimand them on the spot. Anyone that's not doing what they need to do in the time they're supposed to do it, they get written up. Give you verbal warning, then written warning, then 3 days off, and then termination. Whatever your system is, right? Now, he decided not to do that. He wanted to build up the morale. So, it was Mr. Yabe, and he became the president. He came from the safety department to become the president of the company, and he said, my number one job is to improve the morale. So as CEO, he decided, I'm going to change the morale. I am going to add colorful uniforms. We're going to have hats. We're going to say we're now the ambassadors to this train. We're going to put on a show of how we do this. We're actually going to not hide behind we're doing dirty work as janitors and cleaners. We're going to show that this is a skill that we're really good at, and we're going to show it off. It took some time, but his main theme, his motto was at the very bottom. Never say no to employee ideas. He was after their engagement. So he tried to make it a personal mission by him and his staff to, if an employee has an idea, we're implementing it. What does that do to morale? Shot it up. And they were able to achieve the targets. And this has been written up. If you look at 60 Minutes and a few other places on the news channel, look it up on YouTube, you'll see videos of how they did this. So I encourage you, as a homework item, just go look up some YouTubes on the 7-minute miracle, and you'll see what he did. And it's all about morale and treating people. So this comes to Professor Shine from MIT. He basically says the only real important thing we do as leaders is to work on our culture. From that, in the book, we have something called ABCs, and I believe in this. This is about how you build on the organizational culture. I think this is really what the key is, why we can't sustain it, is we're stuck in A. A is artifacts. All right, we got to put up a board for gimbal walks. We put up the board. We got to do 5S, got to put tape here. We're going to put labels here. All the visual artifacts of what we're doing is easy to see, easy to do, easy to implement. That's what we are good at. We do it. But what happens is you go back a month later, a week later, and what happens? Not being followed because you don't have the B, behaviors. The behaviors aren't in place for people to follow the new system. So people do not put things back where they belong, so the system falls apart. And the reason they don't have the behaviors is they don't have the core belief underneath of why they want to do that. So our job is not necessarily to put the artifacts in. Yes, we want to put the artifacts in, but we want to work on behaviors and core beliefs. And if you don't have that foundation in there, you're not going to sustain. So this is where we need to work on. Okay? It takes time to develop the behaviors. It's a habit. It'll take you at least a month to change your habits. So plan on it being a month. All right, you get ready and go to work every morning, right? Does everybody drive? Okay, where are your car keys? Okay, you have them in your drawer. Where else? You got them on a hook? By the door. Why do you put them on the hook by the door? Do you ever have them not on the hook by the door? Yes, and then what happens? Yeah, and then what happens? Yes. Darkness and chaos throughout Colorado. Okay. But the idea is you have a system, and the only way that your system works is you have the behavior of putting that keys back. Because you have the belief and core culture that you want to go to work in the morning, right? Okay? So that's what we need to work on. If we're changing behaviors, we have to get people to believe it. Here's a couple things. Sign no blame. That's one of the core lean leadership beliefs, right? No blame. Who follows that? I believe this is one of the tenets, one of the lean principles that we don't follow very well, and we need to learn to follow it. Every time I'm in a meeting and I hear anybody working on any problem and it comes up with a person's name, I will stop the meeting and say, it's a 5 why process, not a 5 who process. We're not looking for names. I want to know the process. No blame. Now, granted, there are people involved in the process, and we want to know the people that are involved in it, but it's the process of trying to find out what the issue is. And you want to work on it in a coaching manner, okay? So, Jamie, can I use you as an example? Okay, this process that you were working on didn't work. Why? No, why didn't it work? Come on, tell me why.
You told me.
No, you're in charge of the process. Why is it not working?
Well, Jeremy was supposed to do
No, it's not Jeremy. No blame. Okay? So I want to ask you, how did you feel when I was asking you that?
Like I was in trouble.
Like you're in trouble. Are you Catholic?
No.
Okay, most Catholic people feel guilty. Okay? It's part of the Catholic stuff. So, like you're in trouble and guilty. And what was your body position?
So I crossed and I'm like.
Yeah, I started leaning back. Did you notice that she was leaning back? What was my body? Yeah, blushing?
Totally.
Yeah, what was my body position?
I felt like you were leaning in. I don't know that you
Yeah, I did start to lean in when I started doing the second question, and then I started getting bigger because I did the hands out like this to make more, ominous. Like, is that the right way? Okay, what's a better way? Here, let me show you. Hey, Jamie, let's go look at this process. Would you mind? Come with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please? So we're going to go look at this process. Okay? So we're going to look at it right here.
All right.
Okay, so what's going on with this process?
Well, it looks like there is movement from here to here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we're faking it. All right, we're just going with it, all right? Okay, all right. So what's the standard?
Well, I hope I can find it.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see if we can find the standard, and let's see if that's followed. Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. When do you think you can do that?
I can get that done in the next hour.
Are you sure? Is that enough time?
Yeah.
Really, we can look at this again tomorrow. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's come back tomorrow about 2 o'clock, if that's all right, and let's review what you learned after you got a chance to look at it, okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Sure.
What's the difference? Curious. Yes? What's my body position? Engaging. But where do I purposely position myself? Side by side. If you remember nothing else, shoulder to shoulder. We, as a team, are looking at the process, not me interrogating. Okay? Always when you get the chance, try to go shoulder to shoulder and look at the process and look at it and discuss it. And then you want to have her or him talk about what's going on, what do you think? If you don't know, go find out. And then we can talk about it later. And then I had her set the time. Now, sometimes the time may be too fast or too slow, but I try to make it where it's manageable, where she doesn't drop everything to do it, but she doesn't say, well, next month. Okay? So I have to judge a little bit. But I let her choose the time. But I want to meet her so it's doable. And then I'll follow up, and then we'll keep the discussion going. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay? So your approach is to follow that your behaviors are following your core beliefs. And my core beliefs, I'm assigning no blame. I want to work together as a team, and I want to show that in the process. Now, how many people here believe everybody wants to come to work to do a good job? Now, do we treat our employees that way? Well, your belief says you think that, but you don't treat them that way. How many people here think people wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to work today, and I'm going to royally screw things up today. I'm going to have so much fun trying to do everything that the management tells me that I'm not supposed to do and I'm going to do because I don't care. How many of you wake up and do that? Do you believe people do that? I don't believe people do. There may be 1 or 2% people, or 5 or 10, and depending where you are. But no, I don't think. People wake up and want to do a good job, and it's the process that we give them that causes them to do the wrong job or make mistakes. Let's work at the process and fix that so that they can do a good job like they wake up and want to do. Okay. All right. key points. In my experience in helping a transformation, I use these as key steps. One, first thing I work with clients is I need to know what they want to get out of this and why. So we work on the why statement. So we figure out the why, because I want them to all collectively understand the why and then share that message across the board so everybody knows why we're doing what we're doing and get agreement. And then I start, the first thing in a lean journey is you got to start with yourself. Remember I told you before you can't change anybody else? I truly believe you can't change anyone else. You can only influence, but you can change yourself. So everyone here, your job is not to go back and change anybody else. Your job is to go back to be a better lean leader than you were today. And then tomorrow you want to be better than you were yesterday. And every day you want to be better. So your journey is to always be better. I've been doing this for 30 years. I still learn. I'm forever a student of lean, of how to be better at teaching, how to be better at engaging, how to be better at getting results through people, with people. Okay, mastery of the fundamentals. There's so many lean tools here, but really we make it way, way too complex. I love Six Sigma. I'm a black belt. I use it. I used it twice this year to solve really complex problems, but it's just another tool to choose. But if I was to press to pick what I really, really, really go to all the time, I go to the 7 ways and just basic root cause problem solving, PDCA, A3 if you will, but PDCA, problem solving, root cause, and looking for waste and eliminating waste. If I understand that and your whole organization understands how to see problems with the waste and how to do simple PDCA, you're going to be light years ahead of any other organization. And that is the basic fundamentals you want to teach everyone. And then you want to be able to communicate, explain to everybody so everybody understands EBITDA. That'd be one. Everybody needs to understand. And you want to develop, teach other mentors. So I want to come in to work to develop others and then do daily Kaizen. Kaizen's got to be daily. I had one client that said, we got to do daily Kaizen. They go, what does that mean? I go, well, I'd like you to do 1 improvement a day. How long should that take? I said, about an hour. He said, I don't have an hour. I said, you really don't have an hour to do Kaizen? No. You don't understand. I got meetings. I got this. I don't have an hour to do. I said, well, for you, you need 2 hours. I did say that, and I got the basic same reaction. But the idea is, make the time to do and have the discipline to do it yourself and make the improvements. I start with the leadership team that if you're going to ask everybody to do daily improvements, the leadership team is going to do daily improvements every day. If we're going to ask the team to do PDCA, I'm going to ask the leadership team to learn and do PDCA. If I'm going to have them teach, they need to know how to do it, so they need to do it. So essentially, I start with the executive team that we're going to live lean. So I coach them. So I coach the executives how to live lean. And then celebrate efforts every day. Does this work perfectly? No. No transformation is the same, no formula is the same, but this is essentially key elements I found that are very useful to be successful. Now, like I told you, I made lots and lots of mistakes. First rule I learned is you got to Kaizen with people, not to people. I was very energetic in my early career, and as an arrogant engineer, I went in and I designed lines, I changed this, I labeled this, I changed this. We're going to do a Kaizen event. I need you to do this, 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 and this. And we would get some results from management really quick, which we did. I remember one Kaizen event, we did so much change, and we were ready to report on Friday. I think you'd normally do the report outs on Friday. Then we had a Gemba walk afterwards. We went on the Gemba walk afterwards. Everything that we changed was changed back to Monday by the employees when we left them because they hated it. So I started learning my lesson and go, okay, something's wrong. We need to fire some employees here because they're just not getting it. Early in my career. Okay? So then I did another Kaizen event. We'll fix this. I'm going to have people monitoring them so they don't change it. So we did. And then I went back to my car that night, and I don't know what the odds are, but I had 4 flat tires. And it's a brand new Corvette. I don't understand what Chevy had a problem with, but 4 flat tires. What are the odds? True story, 4 flat tires. Yeah, they were cut a little bit. So I learned the hard way you Kaizen with people, not to people. It's so much better to get buy-in and to get people engaged, and it's their ideas because it's their work, and they're the experts, not us. Let them show that they're the experts. Now, part of the why is the vision. If you ever talk or look at the videotape by Simon Sinek about the Golden Circle and why, he has a little expert in there about creating the vision and having everybody understand it. If you look at Martin Luther King, he said, I have a dream speech. He said a vision that everybody can understand. He did not say, I have a 14-point plan. Okay? No inspiration with that. Okay? So the difference is be inspiring with what you're trying to show in your vision. Don't play it out as a 14-point plan. So I do recommend Simon Sinek what he says. He says, we will do as we were told by someone who outranks us, but we'll only follow someone we believe in. Get them to believe in us. The best way to get people to believe in us is live it. You live it. If you live it, you lead by example, and that will help people believe in what you do. Okay? It's not just something you're trying to force on people. So the starting point for change is not the system or others, it's yourself. So work on yourself becoming a lean leader. Okay? All right, I'm going to do this quick little exercise. I do have time. All right, I've done this all over the world. Pencil and paper, write down really quick on a typical day, what do you do in your job? Don't try to impress me. I know you guys do a lot of good things, but just throw out what you do, typical task you do on a typical day at work like tomorrow. Write that down. All right, that's good for a few minutes. I know it's not everything that you do, but I want to hear the highlights. Can someone say one thing that they do? Emails. Probably one of my, number one and number two answer, emails is one of those two. Call people. Meetings is the other number one and number two. Make copies. Oh, coffee. Well, that's a given. Drink coffee, have coffee, yes. What else? Train others, good. Coordinate work. Deal with your boss. Coach, good. Think. Documents. Documentations, okay, good. Read. Address priorities, set priorities, okay. Ask lots of questions, good. Now I do this all over. Do you want to add one other one? Yeah, go ahead. 1 hour kata, excellent. Is that like the coaching? Yes, you do it personally. All right, excellent, excellent. Okay, I do this all over the world. And I do this in presentations, I do this with clients, and this is the list I get. Okay, meetings, emails, number one and number two, reports, presentations, phone calls, planning, firefighting. We heard several of those, did we not? Okay. What I don't hear, although I did, I'm happy to hear a few of those in this session. What I don't hear are Gemba walks, audits, spot checks, visual reviews, problem solving, doing Kaizens, training and staff development. Okay? I hear less of that, although I did hear a couple of them here today, which is good. What we need to do is more on the stuff on the right side and less of the stuff on the left side. Pretty simple. What's the number one thing we need to do as leaders? You heard it in several presentations today. I'm just going to be redundant. Role model and to develop people. That's our goal. You do not develop people by having meetings and emails. Okay? It's your Gemba walks, your one-on-ones, which I was glad to hear about the one-on-ones. That's excellent. Okay? Do the time to do that. And training and development. That's where you're going to develop people. Okay? Going to Gemba, there's another formal term that the Japanese use, Gemba Gebutsu, and I just basically said, get your boots on. Okay? It means get your boots on, get your butt out of your chair, and go to Gemba, to the actual place to see for yourself, to see the facts. Okay? Charts and graphs lie, or interpretations of the truth. Go see for yourself. You learn. Now, you can go on a Gemba walk by yourself. Familiar with Teocha Ono circle? Yes? What do you do? Draw? Yeah, he would draw a chalk circle on the ground, and he'd take the young engineers and make them stand in a circle, and he would say, stand and watch. And then he'd leave them. And he'd come back an hour later, and he'd ask them, what did you see? And if they did not answer correctly, he said, continue watching. And he would leave again. He would do this several times a day until the answers were what he was looking for. And what was he looking for? Waste. But what's the last thing there? Get the facts, gain understanding. He wants you to be able to demonstrate you have understanding of the process by seeing the waste, the problems, the frustrations, what were the issues. And then he says, very simply, go and solve. Solve it with the people. Fix it. Very simple. You can do your own Gemba walks. You can learn a lot. I had a great Gemba walk. I have lots of clients, manufacturing, hospitals. I did the 3P with Group Health. I worked with the IMF, International Monetary Fund in D.C., a bunch of economists. And then Walt Disney World, which is one of my favorites. And I got to work in the parks behind backstage. No, there are no tunnels, so they don't have that. But it's kind of fun to see how they operate behind stage to have a magical experience. One of the first things I learned at Disney is that they have sections of the park they paint every night with fast-drying paint. And I can save you half your painting budget. Paint every other night. They refused because they don't deliver their mission. Their mission is a magical experience every day for every guest. So they must paint every night. So then let's look at how we can prevent wear. But I remember, this is the most unusual thing. They took 3 different consulting groups to come over to them to bid on their job to teach them, and they brought us all together on a Gemba walk. I've never been on a Gemba walk with competing consultants. But this is going to be fun. So we go through the park, and they show us different areas, and then we got to this Mother La Rosa's Kitchen Eatery, something Italian restaurant down in Florida. And we're back in the kitchen, and there's water all over the floor, and people are trying not to slip on the floor, and there are people trying to squeegee it up, and they had these fans blowing on the ground. They're going, we have a lot of trouble with water on the floor and slips and falls. Right away, the 2 other consultants started into PDCA mode, but forgot P and C and went to D. So what does that mean? They went right to solutions. How many times have we done that? Without understanding the problem. So they're talking about, well, gosh, if we had these bigger fans that can really hydrate and blow off the water fast, it'll be quicker to get the water off there, and you can get better. Your squeegees are terrible. We can get some better squeegees. And they were just going at it back and forth, trying to outdo each other. And I'm just standing back in the back watching. Wow, this is interesting. So I let them go on and do what they're doing, and I noticed that one of the ladies walked over and turned the water on, and I saw the water fall underneath the sink straight to the ground. Wow, that's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to go in the pipe. So I'm going, maybe I need to understand this a little bit more. So I'm watching her, and I noticed that the pipe was disconnected from the drain, so it's going right to the floor. I go, oh, that's easy. We fixed that. But why did the pipe get disconnected? I'm not sure because I'm only here watching, but it's probably because they either probably pumped it too hard because it got stopped up or something that caused it to disconnect. So I watched the line and saw it go over here, and I saw water puddled up over at the drain there, and I'm going, he stopped up. That's what I'm thinking. Hypothesis, I don't know, but that's my guess. So after they went through all their processes of all the things to do, I said, I think we should call maintenance here to see if that thing is stopped up. Let's clear the line and then prevent it from being stopped up to find out what caused the stoppage, and then reconnect the pipe, and then you won't have any water on the floor at all. So that's what we did. We called maintenance, and sure enough, the pipe was clogged right there. They cleaned it out, saw what the contents were, and then put better traps in there to prevent that from going in, and they reconnected the pipe. No more water. We got the contract. Okay? But thanks. But I told you I'm a great problem solver. But the idea is stop and look, like Tiocho Ono says, stop and learn to understand, and then you can help solve the problems. So how much time do we spend on Gemba? This is a picture of Tiocho Ono from Japan. How much time? Okay, quantify a lot. 50 to 80%? 80? Okay, that's what I say, 80. 80% of management's time should be at Gemba. I did this with several clients. Not well received. Okay? I had lots of excuses why we could not do 80%, and I said, well, is meetings number one? Which it was. So all right, let's cut meetings, because that's adding no value. Let's do other things. And that's our goal, and that was the goal with the client. And I had them report every single day how much time they spent at Gimba. Every day at our daily huddle, every executive. We started out with 20, 30%. When I left them last month, they were at 60 to 80. And you're starting to see engagement, improvements, and morale going up by just this one change, 80%. Now again, it's not the tourist walking around and socializing, it's going to learn, going to understand the process, working one-on-ones, have all your one-on-ones at Gimba, that counts. But spend your time in Gimba. Figure out why you can't and work out the problem solving to do it. Here's the important thing, the standard you walk by is the standard you set. You can have standards documented, but if you walk by a bad standard, you're going to accept it. One of the common ones, I'll just do this, you may say, 5S is important by our organization. We're going to make sure all the areas are 5S. Please make sure the 5S. And you walk by trash all the time. Okay? It's a killer. Pick it up. Tell them that you are saying 5S is important. Every time you see it, you pick up, you clean, and you organize. What happens in those two different examples? By the leadership that you show if you stop and pick things up and put things where they belong. Okay. Yes, it matches your core belief, therefore the behaviors change and people will start seeing them and they will emulate your actions. So now it becomes important. I'll give you another example. Happened 2 weeks ago. We're doing a great Kaizen event with the Kaizen team, and we were relaying out an area, and we had one of those yellow flammable cabinets that contained stuff that could catch on fire, just some paint, and it was grounded. We wanted to move it, because we won't, bless you, we wanted to move it to get the area out, so we disconnected the ground wire, moved it, and then told maintenance we needed a new ground wire. Okay? Anything wrong with that? It might not happen if we just told maintenance to do it, but we did it. When we say we, the employees in the area did, and we didn't move it to an area we shouldn't move it to. It was a good area by the employees there. We worked together. Employees all on board with this, except maintenance. Maintenance comes out. I don't know how your maintenance departments are, but they're grumpy guys. Okay, and we had a couple of grumpy girls too. So they're grumpy. I don't know what it is with maintenance. He comes out there and he cusses better than me. And he's cussing this and saying this and that, and the poor lady that was on the Kaizen team standing next to him that was trying to show him what we needed, she's standing there looking completely white, hearing probably words and combinations she haven't heard lately, okay? And he's mad because he got pulled off of a job to do this job, which he thought was menial because of some Kaizen team. So I saw this. So is this good behavior? As a manager, what would you do? Coach the maintenance person, because remember, the standard we walk by is the standard we accept. So therefore, we want not to accept that behavior, yes? So do we go up and say, you're fired? Your written warning? No. So I happened to walk up, and he started calling me names and cussing. You're part of that Kaizen team stuff. And I said, yes, yes, yes. But I didn't personally move this, but I was part of the team. But yes, yes. And he just ripped on me. So I let him rip. And I said, all right, that's interesting. But is this really the way you want to treat employees? And you yelled at Maria. Maria had nothing to do with this. She was just part of the Kaizen team. Do you think it's fair to Maria that you cussed at her? Well, no. I said, well, apologize to Maria. So he did. I said, really, we want to treat you with respect, and we need you to treat us with respect. That's how we want to do it. Could we have done this a little bit better? Maybe, but this is how we want to go forward. Let's work on the process of how we did this communication and improve that, not yell at Maria. Everything was fine after that. He apologized. Maria accepted. All good. Now we've addressed the opinion. He came back even later and apologized the second and third time and said, I'm really not going to do that anymore because that's not how I want to treat employees. A pivotal moment because we walked by and addressed it. We didn't just walk by it. So this is some of the power that we have. And you don't have to reprimand them. You don't have to yell at them. Just to have a discussion, which is what I did, and we did it. Okay. Another key point. Are you working in the system or on the system? Big difference, okay? I was the world's worst plant manager. I thought I was good, but I was a recovering arrogant engineer during that time period still, and we were making these gas lawnmowers for the golf course industry, and we needed these axles, and we didn't have them, and we need to get production out, and we had these numbers to hit. We need to go get them. So I went in my personal car, drove 20 minutes to the supplier, loaded up my trunk of my car with these axles, and drove back to the plant with my back end like this, because a car wasn't made for it. Probably ruined my suspension just to get those axles in, just to make the product, just to make the numbers. And I think at the end of the day, I was a fine plant manager. I got production out. I never stopped back and said, what kind of screwed up system do I have that the plant manager has to go in their personal car to go get material to make the order? Why is their system screwed up? So again, if you're so deep into getting the system done, you're not stepping back to say, how is the system working to improve the system? Our job is to improve the system, or else you're going to get the next day, wake up and deal with the same problems over again and over again and over again. You will make mistakes. Like I told you, I made many mistakes. I have 4 flat tires to prove it. Okay? You will make mistakes. It's a safe environment. You will learn from your mistakes. You will learn more from your mistakes than your successes. So don't be afraid to make them. Go forward and try. Here's a communication board we set up with the executive team. One of the things I like to do is put pictures, actual faces to who's in charge of those metrics, make it personal. And they report, and the way this meeting was set up is instead of having a monthly meeting, we had a daily to make it 15 minutes. First meeting was 1 hour. They couldn't get it down, so we worked on it. We got it down to 30 minutes now after 6 months of working on it, and each person has basically 2 to 3 minutes to report. And it's standard work every morning. 9:30 we have this meeting, and we report, and they do their top 3, and they do the improvements, where they're heading behind. Quick, this is what's important for the day, this is what we need resources-wise, and this is what we're going to do to finish out the day. We're going to report how we did tomorrow. Those are all the executives. Yes? At first, it wasn't very good, okay? But what helped is the plant manager, the guy at the top, he said, mandatory meeting. I don't care what you have, you come to this meeting, okay? And he made sure that he did that himself, and that set now the behavior, and everybody started attending. The only problem I had when I left is that they still were late for the meeting. I want to be on time so we can be done on time. I hate being late for meetings like this, on time. But yeah, they attended every day.
But it had to come from their boss.
Yes, I can say it, and I can yell at them, and I will, but no, it's got to come from them, and they got to know why. And we explained that meetings are a waste. Let's make them very productive. So we worked on it. And they created the board and started doing this. I'm the one who forced the pictures on it. They did not want that. But then once they got understood why, now pictures are a very common thing at this facility. Okay? Just shows accountability. Okay, the other thing we did was emotional index. Probably one of the funniest things that we did is I just asked them, are you green, yellow, or red? I want to know if you're feeling good, or I want to know if you're feeling kind of not great, you're just sort of, not quite right, so you're yellow, or you're completely stressed out, you're red. We ask every employee in each of our huddle meetings, all the way from the executive team all the way down, every day we ask them, what color are you? How are you feeling? What's your emotional index? We don't really need to know why. You could have had a fight with your spouse. You could have had road rage coming into work in the morning. You could have not got the memo you were supposed to get. You need this number and you needed this report and you're under pressure and you didn't get it. Whatever the reason is, if you're red, you're red. But we know this because now we can adjust how we're going to work as a team if we know someone's not up on their game. That's all. And you don't have to explain why. At first, they hated doing this, all my clients. Now, all my clients love it because it's a good indicator and it's a good personal thing. I want to know how you guys are feeling. Simple. One thing we introduced. Also, use technology. I have a cell phone. WhatsApp. Anybody use WhatsApp? How do you use it? Communicating with teams. I have it set up as the same thing. It's a simple download free app for your phone. I have the full Albea team on there, and their job is to do one improvement every day, the executive staff. And we're all on a team together on WhatsApp, and they have to show me a quick video. And we correspond immediately. Use that as a quick, easy, no emails, no big reports, just show me a quick little video. And do it every day. Practice lean. So use what applications you can that can apply to make your improvements. Again, you're here to teach, train, and mentor. You're not police officers in the negative sense that you're trying to enforce and arrest people. You're not trying to catch them doing something wrong. You're actually trying to help encourage them to do the right behavior. So it's all about coaching. How you do this, trust is number one. Once you work on the trust and build that, which may take months, then you have a lot of talk and communication, and you get people involved with buy-in in order to do the change. If you're doing this in a community of a few core key people in a conference room in the corner, you don't tell anyone, you're not communicating, you're not getting a buy-in. So to get buy-in, you got everybody trust what we're doing, work together, talk about it, try things, experiment with it, see what we learn from it, from those experiments. Then as a team, we're going to decide what we're going to do. Those are key elements to help get buy-in. Can you force lean? Yes, you can. I can make an organizational change and announce it. It's going to be Monday. We have a new value stream flow organizational chart. Come up to the board here and see where you're reporting starting Monday. Easy, done. Buy-in, zero. Sustainability, very low. Work on working the team together to make the changes. One of the things I like to do is I like to take clients to Japan. I took my plant manager over there, and we toured Japan. The first day is just scenic tours. Let's go to a castle. Let's do this. Next 4 days, we're going to different plants. We're going to look at how they operate lean. We're going to learn about their culture. We're going to immerse ourselves into the culture and understand how they do things, what are their struggles, and you always come back energized as, wow, this is amazing, because you're immersed in a whole different culture, and you learn things about how these companies do it, and you see it. It was the pivotal thing for the last 2 clients was taking them to Japan, the leaders, and showing them, not just telling them. So that was a fun experience. It is a slow process. It's a mindset change. It can't be done overnight. So please take the time to be patient, to repeat and try and do it over and over and over again. So I'm a big Green Bay Packer fan. Vince Lombardi was one of the best coaches ever. You may argue this point. It's okay. I won't care. Excellence is achieved by the mastery of the fundamentals. If you guys know about background history of the Green Bay Packers, when they won the Super Bowls in 60 and 61, 62 era, they ran a very popular play called the power sweep. It was basically pull the guards, have them come around, toss the ball back to the fullback, and they run around. They had power sweep right, power sweep left. Pretty simple. The playbook was about this big, okay? They were so good at this, they practiced it over and over and over and over again, that muscle memory took place, that once the ball was snapped, they just knew where to move. The body just moved because they practiced it so often. They didn't have to think about the steps. Have you ever drove to work and drove home and you end up home and you go, how did I get here? I don't remember that stoplight or that turn, but it's muscle memory. You just do it. Same thing here. They were so good at it, when they were lining up against the opponent, they're going, we're going to do the power sweep right. You ready for it? They would tell the opponents that they're going to run the play. They were so confident in their execution of the play that they didn't think that the opponents could stop them. That's how well they practiced. Do we practice that well at work? We have an opportunity. Practice so that we're so good at it, we can challenge anyone because we know how to do it. Our muscles just follow this. Okay? Problem solving. Problem solving is one of the key elements here. I saw a good sign over in the neonatal area about washing hands. Is that important? Yeah. Do you have a metric about washing hands? Do you have to wash your hands before you enter the patient room and exit the patient room? Okay. Is that with or without a patient? Oh, I know it's with a patient, but does it count without the patient in there if it's an empty room? I'm just asking. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Okay. Do you measure compliance? Can you share the percent? You don't have to.
I mean, it varies, right? They've even been doing like cameras and good job.
Oh yeah, sneaky. Okay, I know, but okay. So it's a challenge, all right? But I noticed something that is a challenge at every hospital organization I worked at. A simple thing like washing your hands either with soap and water or with the foam. Some nurses and doctors carry it in their carts or in their pockets. They carry it. They can do it that way. But the idea is an important thing because we have learned that we don't want to introduce any germs with the patient, correct? Is that the reason? And we know that if we keep our hands washed, we protect ourselves and we protect the patient, correct? Okay. So why is it so hard? We've been washing hands since we were little kids. Mom taught us songs and stuff, right? Why is it so hard? You don't have to answer the question, but the idea is you don't start writing people up and blaming them. Again, what we learned before, we learned that it's always about the process. Look at where we hold the dispensers. Get the team together to practice and try different things. There's all kinds of things you can do to improve that yield. Also, bacteria in the room. What's the number one place that germs or bacteria can enter into a room? Have you heard? Clothes. Number one. Ties. How many doctors wear ties? Getting less and less. Yeah, ties are probably the number one article in clothing that carry germs and bacteria. So if I was that, I would say, doctors, get rid of the ties. Okay, don't need to wear them. And it's one element of ties not being in the patient rooms. The other one is curtains. Drapes and curtains, if you have them, is the number one source. If you look at other hospitals and what they had to deal with, how do we clean it and how often do we need it? Do we really need it? But that's all about problem solving, that you can work with your teams to solve all these problems, like things like washing our hands, which you would think is so simple, but it's not. It's a complex process that we have to work on. How do we engage the employees to work on all these problems? Every day, we should make improvements. And one of the things I like to do is something called My CI, or My Continuous Improvement. And we have employees tell me a simple idea. If you can save 1 second or 1 sentence good enough, implement it. Not give me a suggestion for management to approve. I want you to implement it every day. How many employees are at Denver Health? So I'd like to see 7,000 ideas every day. That's the goal. Imagine what happens after a week, a month, a year. We've got to start somewhere. Now, would I have to put a metric saying we're going to measure this? Yes, I would measure it, but not to punish anyone. But I want to know where we are, and we want to improve the process of teaching people to develop the skills to make a simple improvement every day. Chioja Ono was good at this, and so was Shingeo Shengo. Shingeo Shengo worked with one of the Japanese consultants, and he was telling me that he hated Shingeo Shengo. Because he would come to the plant and he says, I want you to go make improvements today. You need to make improvements by tomorrow. 300. 300 improvements. Can you imagine? You guys are lean people, right? Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I would like 300 implemented improvements in your area by tomorrow. How much pressure is that? Oh my gosh, yes. The first 50 may be easy, but then you're just going to go, oh, crazy. So I asked him what he did. He said, I went and got whiskey. And I said, wow, whiskey. I never thought of that as a lean tool. True. He said it. He got some whiskey. Now, I'm not saying we go out and get whiskey. I like tequila. But no, whatever it is. He basically got a bottle of whiskey and took a couple shots to loosen his mind to come up with the ideas, because he got stuck at 100. And then he just... So I'm not saying you do that, but the idea of having an open mind is what I think you should do, is try to be open to come up with these ideas. Relax a little bit, come at it another time, come up with the ideas. I think you can go, every time you go to Gemba Walk, every time you're in Gemba, every 30, 60 seconds, every 60 seconds you're in Gemba, you can come up with one idea. That should be a goal we should practice. Practice this. Go to Gemba for 20 minutes and say, I want 20 ideas, come back in 20 minutes. Practice this skill. And that's how you're going to generate the muscles to make continuous improvement. But the idea is to make a lot of improvements. And what we end up doing is, I'll show you the next slide, I think, is we created Kaizen Wall of Fame. I'll show you what that is. Biggest thing is you need to have, helpful to have a coach. If you've watched Biggest Loser and know about Jillian Michaels, she's a really tough coach. He says, she doesn't care if you puke, die, you're not getting off that treadmill. She's that kind of coach. All right? But who's losing the weight? Who's doing the push-ups and who's doing the running? So it's the person that's doing so the people that want to actually improve are the ones that need to do the improvement, not the coaches. So again, this is the hardest part for us as lean coaches, to be the ones that give the answers. We want to have them develop their own skills. We want them to do the push-ups. We want them to do the running. We want them to develop their own muscles and skills. But if you do this every single day, you will have your transformation change. That's the key message here, is daily, 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 you must do this. Okay, another thing, be decisive, right or wrong, make a decision. The road of life is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision. Okay, I don't know how it is here, but in Wisconsin, that's so true. Okay? You're not going to know everything of how to do everything. You're going to say, I'm not sure. Make a decision. Do something. Try, learn. If you make a mistake, go forward. Okay? Don't be a flat squirrel. Okay, this is a picture of the celebration, the Gimba board. We have this 40-foot wall that we put every idea up. It's not the best ideas, it's all of them. Every time we have an idea, we laminate it, we put it up here. Simple before and after picture of the employee and how to make their job easier and better. That's it. Once it's full, we take out the oldest ones and replace them with the newest ones. It becomes a revolving board. So again, celebrate with the employees to make the improvements even big and small. These are just quick 1-second simple improvements. We made good improvements, but we celebrate all of them. Quitting is addictive. This is the last story. It gets easier and easier the more you do it. Please never, never, never give up on your lean journey. I actually learned this lesson from my daughter when she was in kindergarten. We taught her how to read books and like books, so we let her read. She loved to read in bed, so she would take flashlights and would read books in bed. And I don't know how many batteries I went through because she would fall asleep and leave the batteries on with the flashlight, and we didn't want to keep buying batteries or keep getting recharged batteries. So we found Fisher Price has got this really cool little flashlight that if you hold the handle down, it lights. When you release, it goes off. Problem solved. We're going to give her that for Christmas, and that will be her reading flashlight, so when she reads in bed, that she can read, and then if she falls asleep, that the power will go off, and we can save on batteries. So she used that for quite a few months, and then one night she came and she goes, Daddy, I can't find my flashlight. I said, well, honey, where'd you put it? She goes, I don't know. I said, well, where'd you have it last? I think I had it in the bed last night. Well, let's go look. So we went and looked. Couldn't find it. I said, I'm sorry, honey, we can't find it. You'll have to not read tonight, and we'll look at it for it tomorrow. She goes, no. Let's keep trying. Keep trying. I think we can find it. So where else can we go? So we searched all over the closet, searched in the bathroom, in the hallways, couldn't find it. She said, Daddy, please keep helping me find it. I said, honey, it's getting late. You got to go to bed. You got school in the morning. No, we got to keep trying. So we go in the living room. Now we're searching the house, and I'm getting tired, and I want to go to bed. And I'm going, oh, honey, we'll find it. Please, let's go to bed. No, Daddy, you don't understand. Never, 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 never give up. She's in kindergarten. I'm going, oh my gosh, I raised Winston Churchill. And I'm going, this is great. She did amazing. All right, you've motivated me. Let's keep looking. So we went, and we did find it eventually. We did find it. I don't know why it was stuck in her brother's room, but it was stuck in his brother's room. And we went and got it, and she got it, and she was happy, and she went to bed, and everything was good. But I was so many times on that journey that night, I wanted to give up. For good reasons. I wanted her to get to sleep. I wanted to get to sleep. It wasn't that important to me, but to her it was. So the idea on the lean journey is we may not be successful, but please keep trying. Don't ever give up. It'll be worth it to somebody to help keep going. Okay, that's my presentation. Thank you.
How fantastic was that? Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. So we're going to just wrap up a couple